Welcome to the Well Body Podcast, where we redefine what it means to be a healthy, ambitious woman. I'm your host, Renee, a nutritionist, women's health coach, personal trainer, and founder of Beyond the Body. Around here, we talk about building energy from the inside out through food, movement, mindset, and living in sync with our natural rhythms. No more quick fixes, no more burnout, just evidence-based tools and empowering conversations to help you thrive in your body and your life. This is your reminder that health isn't a side hustle. It's the foundation of everything that you do. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to the Well Body Podcast, where we talk about all things women's health, energy, and feeling your absolute best. Today's episode is all about energy, and not the kind that comes from another flat white or an energy drink. I'm talking about real, cellular, sustainable energy that comes from fueling your body properly, moving with purpose, and living in sync with your biology. If you've been feeling tired no matter how much sleep you get, or you feel like your body just can't keep up with your mind anymore, this episode is going to help you understand why and what you can do to change it. Let's be real, the world we live in isn't designed for energy, it's designed for output. We're running from one thing to the next, we're over-caffeinated, under-fueled, and constantly told to do more, at the detriment to our own health at most case scenarios for a lot of people. But energy isn't about doing more, it's about how well your body is functioning internally. If you're skipping meals, eating on the go, and living on adrenaline, your body thinks it's in survival mode. It slows your metabolism. It can even mean that you store and hold on to fat, and it keeps you feeling tired and sluggish because it doesn't feel safe to thrive. It feels like there's constantly a tiger chasing you and you're having to hide and keep away from it. Your body is on. This can then affect your sleep. This can affect so many other things in life. So I just really want to talk about energy today because I feel like the type of energy that we're thriving from in today's world is not the type of energy that we actually could have. Energy isn't created from thin air though, it's built from the food that you eat, the oxygen you breathe, the sleep that you get, and the way your nervous system feels. So the question isn't how do I get more energy? It's actually where am I leaking it? Food is information. Nutrition is your first thing to look at when it comes to building your energy. This is your first energy builder. Every bite tells your body either you're safe and nourished or you're stressed and deprived. If you're not eating enough protein, your body doesn't have the amino acids it needs to make neurotransmitters like dopamine or serotonin, the chemicals that make you feel motivated and happy. If you're low on iron, you can't transport oxygen efficiently, and that's why you feel lightheaded, sluggish, or you have constant brain fog. And if your meals are low in fiber, your gut microbiome suffers, and that affects everything from your mood to energy and digestion. So, how can we change our nutrition to ensure that we're helping our body to refuel and to feel more energized? We need to focus on balanced, high-protein meals every 3 to 4 hours, and we need to include iron-rich foods like beef or lentils or spinach. And also we need to stop fearing carbohydrates because they are your body's preferred energy source. You're going to use that energy first. So it's so important that every meal we eat is not just a banana, a piece of toast with jam on it, or a smoothie that we're guzzling down in the car. We're actually taking time to be mindful with the food that we're eating. We're eating mindfully without distractions. We're taking a moment to actually breathe and tell our body that we're about to eat delicious food and receive nutrients that's going to help ourselves to feel good. If we tell ourselves that the food we're eating is going to make us feel good, it will make you feel good. There's a massive link between the way you think and feel about food that you're eating and how it's going to make you feel and what it's going to do with the outcome that actually happens. So scientists have actually proven this too through studies. If you tell yourself that this meal I'm eating is going to make me lean and healthy and feel good, it will. But if you tell yourself the meal you're eating is going to make you feel sluggish, fatigued, and it's not going to make you feel good, or I shouldn't be eating this, it's not good for me, it's not going to feel good. So we have to have a good mindset about the food that we're eating before we eat it. We need to create mindfulness around the food that we're eating. We need to be making sure that our environment is mindful. If that means having to get up 10 minutes earlier in the morning so you can sit down and actually eat your breakfast rather than rushing on the go and slurping it back or chewing it back in the car, then you need to do that. The mindfulness you create around your food is a massive effect. It has a massive effect on your digestion. It has a massive effect on your brain as well, registering that you've eaten and that you've actually had food. So the way that we are eating our food and how we think and feel about our food, it really does matter. Now, when we think about the technical side of building the plate needs to have protein. It needs to have a source of protein, okay, with every meal you have. Whether this be from eggs, Greek yogurt, tofu, from legumes, from animal protein like chicken, turkey, beef, fish, salmon, whatever that looks like, you need to have a source of protein on your plate. And then you need to make sure that you're including a variety of vegetables on your plate too. I love, at the moment, a grated beetroot, carrot, and pumpkin seed salad. I literally make a massive bulk of this and I put it in my fridge and I put it with every meal, so I'm adding more fiber, more nutrients, more color to each meal. And with this, I will also add in either a cup of spinach or rocket or whatever I've got in my garden or whatever I've brought. And this helps to bulk up the fiber and also iron as well from spinach. Sometimes as well, what I do with my protein is if I'm having something like beef, I might add some lentils to it. So I have half and half. And the reason I do this is so that I'm getting more fiber for my gut health and for my gut microbiome. B, it keeps you full when you add more fiber to your meals. And C, the research that we have on legumes linked to longevity, it's just a no-brainer to add more legumes into our meals to help with adding more fiber for our digestive health and for a healthier gut microbiome. So adding more of those types of foods are really important, and then not fearing carbohydrates by adding a little bit of whole grain or a little bit of rice or whatever that looks like for you, whatever you feel like. It could be oats, it could, if you're having breakfast, it could be rice at lunch, it could be roasted potatoes at dinner. So whatever that looks like for you, you need to have a balanced plate with protein, carbohydrates, and then fats. Fats are also really important. Fats are a huge part of your hormone health, okay? So adding in a serving of fats with every meal is also going to be really important. Now that could look like the olive oil that you use to cook your food with, as well as a little drizzle on your salad. It could look like the avocado you add to your breakfast. It could look like the egg yolks you have on your plate, as well as a little bit of olive oil that you cooked those eggs in. Making sure you're adding some good fats to your meals is also really important, okay? We don't want to skip out on one and have more of one and not enough of the other. We need that balance. And if you need some examples as to what that balance can look like, head over to my website, which is linked in the show notes below, to have a look at some blog posts that help you understand nutrition a little bit more, help you to build a meal, or even check out my social media page and some of the meals that I have on a weekly basis. Okay, the next thing about having more energy is actually moving our body. We need to move our body. Energy creates energy. The fitness industry has made us believe that if you're not wrecked after a workout, it doesn't count. You should be smashed, or you need to be sweating, or it didn't do anything. But that couldn't be further from the truth. If you're constantly overtraining or pushing through fatigue, you're stressing your adrenals, which only drains more of your energy, okay? Movement should be about building energy capacity. And that's why I always say strength training 3 times a week is amazing. Plus you're walking and mobility in between, and then making sure that you're adding in 1 session a week where you are doing that high intensity interval training, okay? So that could look like sprints. That could look like choosing any apparatus that's cardiovascular based, like a rower, a treadmill, a bike, whatever that looks like for you, even a skipping rope. And you're working to max intensity for a minute and then a minute off, or you could do the classic 4x4 method, but you've got some kind of high intensity interval training in there as well. You're focusing on a lot of mobility daily, okay? A lot of us walk around with tension in the body, which means we're not being mobile enough. We need to be doing more mobility, and mobility can be done every single day. It only takes 5-10 minutes a day just to start building into that rhythm and building that habit. So when we have a regular routine with this kind of movement, this is probably the sweet spot for most women. Then you're going to be training to actually be more powerful rather than training to be tired. I see people do countless high intensity interval training classes 7 days a week and end up burning out, and then they don't see results because muscle is not actually built during the workout. You do the work in the workout, but it's building in your recovery and in your rest periods. So your training needs to be just as hard as your recovery. You need to be resting as hard as you train. That's really, really important. Okay, so when we're building muscle, when we're exercising, we need to make sure that we are doing it smartly so that we're building our energy capacity, we're building better energy, we're training to be powerful humans rather than not training just to be tired and fatigued because we're living up to old societal norms, I guess you could say, of trying to be as small as we can, eat as little as we can, and train as hard as we can so that we are staying in this weird category that women still seem to think is the only way to be healthy. I think we still live in a society and in a world where women go to the gym, and I'm not saying this is the case, but this is what is perceived. Women are going to the gym or starting exercise just to lose weight, and that tends to be the only focus. We're in it where our movement needs to be about building better energy, building a stronger body, building muscle for longevity, and improving your metabolic health, improving your overall health, improving your bone density. These needs to be the reasons why we exercise. There's also an element of working with your cycle, working with your body. Okay, now when it comes to cycle syncing, and I call this the cycle code because I used to call my program the Cycle Sync Club, and the reason I changed it to the cycle code is because people were getting confused about cycle syncing being something that you do to completely change your entire workout routine depending on the phase that you were in. Now, this is not the case at all. When it comes to cycle syncing, we do not want to be completely changing our entire workout routine just because we're in a certain phase in our cycle. We need to be using the cycle code to help us adapt if we need to. We need to be working with our cycle. So if you're in your luteal phase and you still feel as though you can push hard, then do it. But if you are tracking, let's say you use a Whoop band like I do and you're tracking your recovery and you're in the red, then I wouldn't be pushing as hard because your body's not even recovered from, lack of sleep or, you've been unwell. So this is where we need to use that cycle code framework to help us understand how we can push our body. But just because we're in a certain phase of our menstrual cycle, it does not mean we need to completely change our workout routine. We need to make sure that strength training is a part of every phase of our cycle, a part of every phase of our life, because this is what's going to help us to build muscle and get stronger and actually help our bodies to cope better with being resilient to stress and things like that throughout every phase. Your body will reward you with better strength and less inflammation and overall energy when you work with your body rather than working against it. And this means tuning in and listening. It doesn't mean changing just because a piece of paper said you're here, you need to stop doing this. It's about you actually listening to your own body. And this is going to look different for so many women, okay? It's not going to be the same every month sometimes. It really depends on the environmental factors, depends on the amount of sleep you've had, depends on the nutrition you've been having, it depends on the water you've been drinking, it depends on a lot of things. So work with your cycle, not against it, and just know when you need to scale back rather than continuing to push, or know when you need to actually push yourself because you can rather than just scaling back because you might be afraid to. Okay, there is no unsafe part of your cycle to be training hard. It is completely fine to be training hard all phases of your cycle. You might just need to adjust things with your energy depending on where you're at mentally and physically and where you're at with your recovery, okay? But when we train with our body rather than against it, we're going to have better energy. All right, the lifestyle part of having better energy is actually about protecting your energy bank. So let's talk about what drains your energy that isn't food or training. Now, as I mentioned, sleep is a massive one, stress, hydration, and then personal boundaries. And boundaries with yourself, but then boundaries with other people as well. If you're scrolling till midnight, surviving on 4 coffees, or saying yes to everything, then that's where a lot of your energy is going, and this could be a massive culprit as to why you're feeling drained. You say yes to every invite that comes through. You say yes to every event that, comes up. You say yes to every school sport volunteering that you didn't have to volunteer for. You say yes to everything that there's no time for you to actually recharge your own batteries. So energy is a form of currency. And this is something I really want you to retain and remember. So it's really important that you spend it wisely. Go to bed at a consistent time. Stop scrolling on your phone. stop online shopping till midnight. Stop listening to audiobooks till midnight as well. There's a time and point in the evenings where you actually stop retaining things and it all becomes a blur. You're better off to have that 8 hours sleep and then listen to your audiobook in smaller amounts throughout the day than listening to it till midnight just because you need to know what happens next. You need to set boundaries with yourself and make sure that you aren't breaking those boundaries because you need to see what's happening next or you need to watch that next episode. Be consistent with your bedtime. Then you need to start your morning with sunlight and protein first instead of just having caffeine and then running straight to work. Have a morning routine. It sets the tone for the day and it helps you to have a little sense of calm for yourself, which is going to make a massive difference on how you feel energetically. And then adding a magnesium-rich meal before bed. Okay? This could be salmon for dinner, adding lots of greens or a little bit of dark chocolate after dinner. And then having a magnesium supplement can help as well. And then protecting your nervous system with a bit of breath work or even just 5 minutes of stillness. You'll be surprised at how quickly your energy returns when your body finally feels safe to rest and recharge. So you need to provide your body and yourself with the environment to be able to do this. All right? So I would encourage you not to have too many Netflix and chill nights, not to have too many scroll nights. We need to really be a bit more strict with ourselves. I mean, years ago, this was never an issue. But now we're seeing more fatigue, more burnout, more overwhelm than we ever have. And I honestly think that social media, scrolling on our phones, having everything at our fingertips is a massive disruptor to our health. So we need to start setting boundaries around these disruptors to make sure that we aren't letting them rule our life so that our health then becomes in jeopardy because of it. So when it comes to building better energy, true energy isn't just about quick fixes at all. It's about consistency. And when you give your body what it needs, nutrients, movement, rest, and joy, it will always give back. So instead of chasing motivation, start building the foundations that keep you feeling energized every single day. Motivation is not something you wake up with. Motivation is a byproduct. It's a byproduct of the action you take. So you need to be setting those foundations and creating those environments to be able to chase what you want when it comes to your health rather than just chasing motivation. I'm not motivated yet, so I won't start. Well, you're never going to be. You need to build the environment. You need to start building the foundations that are going to keep you feeling energized to keep showing up to do the things you need to do to be a healthier human. So if you love this chat and it helped you understand how we build better energy, then please subscribe to this podcast. Please leave me a review. I would love to hear from you. There's always lots of extra help on my blog posts on my website, which is linked in the show notes below. So make sure you go and check those out. I have got week 3 currently up on my blog, which is the Energy Builder blog meal plan. It's got a few recipes in there that'll help you feel your best from the inside out with some functional nutrition notes as well. And as always, if this resonated with you as well, please do share it with a friend who needs a little energy boost. Remember, building better energy starts with you. It starts with you taking that action on the things you need to do to make your environment better so that your energy thrives rather than survives. Thank you so much for listening to the Well Body Podcast. It's been an honor to have you here. If you're ready to build your energy and your confidence from the inside out, join me over at beyondthebody.co or find me on Instagram at Renee Diment and have a chat with me. Let's see if there's anything I can do to help you, whether that's building your plan, whether that's just leading you in the right direction. Remember, energy is your greatest asset. Protect it, nurture it, and it will change everything. Until next time, take care of yourself, and I look forward to having you in the next episode.